Hi, thanks for tuning in to Christ Episcopal Church in the city of Poughkeepsie. If you like our content, please remember to click subscribe. We're happy to see you. May God bless you. Yesterday, a few of us went down to the Cathedral of St. John the Divine in Manhattan to see our friend Christy Miller be ordained a transitional deacon. I've been at the cathedral many times over the last 22 years that I've been in the Diocese of New York, but it still does what it's designed to do. It makes me feel like I am part of something much bigger, a small part of a much larger purpose. Did you know that the word Christian is used only 3 times in the New Testament? In 2 of those references, it is outsiders who call the followers of Jesus Christians. Only in the letter of Peter is the word used in a way that we would recognize. In her article, The Surprising Origins of the Word Christians, Camilla Klein writes that the historian Tacitus, writing in the early 2nd century, refers to Christians being persecuted by the Roman Emperor Nero in the aftermath of the Great Fire of Rome. The fact that Tacitus uses the term Christian suggests that it was already in use and well known outside of Christian circles by this time. It is likely that the term Christian originated as a nickname or a term of derision used by non-Christians to describe the followers of Jesus. The Greek suffix "ianos" was commonly used to create adjectives indicating affiliation with a particular person or group. So Christianos would have meant something like those people who try to act like Christ, or those little Jesuses. She goes on to say that the fact that the term was initially used by non-Christians to describe followers of Jesus may explain why it was not widely adopted by Christians themselves until much later. I find it fascinating that the word Christian, which we use so freely now, began as an insult, a tease, a taunt. Look at those people trying to be like Christ. Look at those Christians. Of course, it's much like the symbol of the cross itself, which was created to be an image of terror. Crucifixion, after all, was the most terrible form of punishment found in the ancient world. The cross was an image that reminded you of the brutal consequences of rebelling against the empire. You would be hung on a cross and left to die, embarrassed and helpless in front of your friends and family, stripped naked, suffering, a slow, humiliating, and remarkably painful death. But now, it is a symbol that Christians use to explain who we are. We put gold crosses on gold chains and give them to little children. We have crosses throughout the church. The symbol has become one of pride and not of shame. There's a theme here, of course, that things which had once been used to hurt us have now been transformed into things that give us not only identity, but strength. I think that that is what Jesus is getting at when he says, for those of you who want to save their life will lose it, and those who lose their life for my sake and for the sake of the gospel will save it. My favorite version of this is actually found in the Gospel of Thomas, what some call the fifth gospel, a gospel that is not found in our Bible. In that gospel, there's a related verse, and it reads like this: if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. A few weeks ago, on February 8th, I celebrated the 12th anniversary of my sobriety, which means that 12 and a half years ago, or more precisely, 12 years and one day, my world looked about as grim as you could imagine. My health was falling apart. I was depressed. My relationships were terrible. I was miserable. But the truth is, I didn't want to stop drinking. It was literally killing me. But I kept on holding tighter and tighter to the idea that it was helping me cope instead of being the source of my problems. I had a million reasons that I couldn't stop drinking. And it wasn't until I hit bottom, until I was pretty sure that I was about to lose everything in my life that mattered to me, that I asked for help. When I was able to name the problem and ask for help, everything began to change for me. But what that actually looked and felt like was losing my life. Because in order to stay sober, I had to give up some friendships. I had to stop going to places that I loved to be. I gave up my routines. And I had to relearn how to do everything in my life without alcohol. I had to lose my life in order to find it. Now, the vast majority of you are not alcoholics, but I do believe that all of us have things in our lives that we have let become too important. Human beings like to do that. Whether it's shopping when we are stressed, or overeating, working too much, or looking at our screens, anger or envy, resentment, lust, whatever we have decided consciously or unconsciously that without which we could not survive. Whatever you have given that priority to in your life, well, hear this, that priority belongs only to God. And until you turn it over, until you risk losing that, your life will never be all that God created you to have it be. The cross reminds us that everything the world has taught us to be afraid of will have no more power over us. Because God, you see, is stronger than any of it. In this Black History Month, it seems especially appropriate to hold up one of my personal heroes, Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman was a brave woman who escaped slavery during the Civil War. and despite a huge reward for her capture, she returned to the slave-holding states over 19 times to lead hundreds of African Americans out of slavery and into a territory where they could live a free life. Harriet Tubman was a Christian, and she became a great warrior in the battle to dismantle the institution of slavery. When asked about the source of her fearless strength, she would always say, "It wasn't me, it was the Lord. I always told him, I trust you. I don't know where to go or what to do, but I expect you to lead me." And he always did. Harriet Tubman, whose nickname was Moses, was never captured. And there are more stories like these, and more being discovered every day. There are the stories of Christians who learn to lead because they keep rediscovering what it means to be a follower of Jesus. Faith is like that. It can help us do things we couldn't even imagine that we were possible of. It can help us see hope even in the most discouraging and fearful moments of our lives, because we believe that with God all things are possible, that our worst moments and our biggest fears can be transformed by the cross into that which gives our life meaning and new life. That is the power of the cross. And it's the power of Jesus's invitation to us all to pick up that thing we are most afraid to bear and carry it toward God's loving arms. Amen.